So this is the Purple O2 sprint review for November 11th. Everybody is here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the intro. The goal of the sprint review is to share the completed stories with the product owner. In addition, it is a time when the team's velocity for the completed sprint is shared and documented. The flow of the meeting is 1. To list all the stories that have met the definition of done. 2. Document and show the velocity for the sprint. 3. Show and tell each story that was done. And 4. Any incomplete stories go back into the product backlog. So, we were able to successfully complete 4 stories. We have add menu item, update menu item, support creamer options, and checkout associate user. So I'm going to go ahead and demo those now. The first thing that we want to demo is add menu item. And to do that, we need to log in. So first of all, in our menu, I do have a couple of cards, some demo cards. We're going to be adding a new one. So add item. Anybody want to volunteer to be in the new card?
Sure.
Who was that? Sorry.
That was Brandon.
That was Brandon.
Brandon. Likes to destroy websites. Brandon, you don't have a size, so we're just going to put in. And Brandon, how much do you want to be worth?
As much as your heart desires.
Well, the most that we can make you worth is $99.99. So that's what we'll make you.
$3.50.
$3.50. All right. Okay, so add item successfully. We're going to go ahead and check that in the menu. And there's Brandon. This also will give us an error code if we have similar products or product names. So instead, that item already exists. So there's add item. The next one is update menu item. So now I'm going to go into my update menu item. One thing is that we can now search according to partial matches. So if I put in just cough, it brings in all coffees. So if I put in C, it brings in coffees and cappuccinos. So we can now search for partial matches. So here's Brandon. I'm going to edit Brandon's page. The criteria, the acceptance criteria, just says we can edit the SKU description and price. So we have not implemented, or we took out the name categories and the size category. So Brandon, I'm going to make his new description Brandon, what do you want your new description to be? Maybe name starts with B. And we're going to make his price, we're going to drop him down to $10. And we're going to give him a new SKU. So the old SKU starts with 4. He was at $99. Now, so it updates in real time in the update item menu. You can see that the SKU is new and the price is new. And if we go into the menu, that is the same. So new SKU, new description, new price. So that is update menu. Now we will do support creamers. So on all drinks, there are creamers. As you can see, we have add creamer in a drop-down box. That does not apply to non-drink items. So you don't see a drop-down box on any of these. Okay. So if I click, let's say I want 2 skim small coffees and a whole medium coffee and 1 almond small coffee. If I go into the cart now, I have my 2 skim small coffees, my 1 medium small coffee with almond, and 1 small coffee with almond and 1 medium coffee with whole. And according to the acceptance criteria, well, it's not on the acceptance criteria, but I do believe the professor said that he wanted to see those on the cart and checkout. So here they are in the cart for each item. The remove button also works for each of those, and then when we click checkout, they're on the checkout as well. And I think order number and date were from the previous stories. So while we're here on checkout, I will go ahead and demo, because support camera is basically done at this point. I'm going to go ahead and demo checkout associate user. So we get a receipt generated, and we want to store orders by their account, or if they don't have account, if they're not logged in, we'll store them under the guest account. So since we're logged in, you can see that this account is going to be what this order is stored under. And to see the order history, we haven't implemented a page yet, but you can see the order history in the database. If I go to order history and do select rows, let's see, I'm going to order by ID ascending. And then I'm just going to do that. So my latest order was 34069. 34069 is the order number. That's this one here. So it's storing everything in the database under the guest account. If I go to log out, come on, there we go. And then I do just, whatever. And I do checkout. Now it's being stored under the guest account for 34071. So 34071 is being stored under guest now. And that's exactly what we want. So we have permanent storage of all orders according to order number and according to a particular account. If no account exists, we store it under the guest account. Okay, so that's checkout user. So according to the acceptance criteria, these should be done. If they're not done, then Professor Crider can let us know. All right, tech review. I'm going to go ahead and jump into that. The goal of tech review is to acknowledge infrastructure that was built during this iteration and update vulnerability additions, updates, or mitigations. Some examples of infrastructure include servers, networks, and firewall rules. So we do not have any new infrastructure, although we did try to create some infrastructure, and I'll get into that in just a second. So no new infrastructure, no new vulnerabilities. By using parameterized SQL statements, we're still catching those vulnerable fields and basically making them clean. As for the infrastructure that we tried to add, I tried to go in and add a web application firewall. But the account that we use does not let me do that. I can't finalize the process. I can go in and make a firewall and I can add in rules, but I can't finalize it. So I think that would be a great resource to have with this account, Professor Crider. If there's anything that you can do about that, where we can make firewalls and connect them to our websites, I think that would be a great thing, because and just put in a standard name. I can do an add rule, and I can sort by, or I can choose to match it to SQL injections. So if it has any patterns that look like SQL injection attacks, it will filter those out and block them. Or the most common attack, cross-site scripting. If it sees any kind of cross-site scripting patterns, it will block those requests. And that would be just a great thing to have. But because we can't actually finalize this process, we can't add any rules. We can't add any kind of web access or web application firewalls. So don't have anything for, sorry, where am I? We don't have anything for infrastructure or vulnerabilities, although we did try. Okay. Now we'll go into the retrospective. The goal of the retrospective is to give voice to people on how the iteration was experienced and choose actions that will be taken during the next sprint. So first, we're going to review the previous actions taken. It's over here in course summary. So we were going to walk through potential solutions during story refinement, and I felt like that worked out really well with these last 4 stories because we asked a lot of questions and we kind of refined our approach based on those responses that we got, and that made it easier to get some of these done. And then the other one was we asked product owner for specifications on stories to clear ambiguity, which kind of ties in with the first one. We asked a lot of questions, and that helped us generate better solutions, potential solutions. Any other thoughts on those? All right.
Looks good to me.
And then the team will reflect on challenges during the iteration. So did anybody have anything in particular that really just frustrated you, or you felt like kind of blocked your progress, or that just gave you a lot of headache? Anything like that from anybody?
The modal.
The modal, yeah, the modal.
Other than that, I don't think so, though. Just the modal from what the professor said previously about keeping the login window open. Trying to learn Ajax at the moment to try to validate the username and password before actually refreshing the page.
Yeah.
Once we get that figured out, though, I think it won't be a crazy hard fix. But like I said, I don't know Ajax currently, so I have to kind of review it and learn it.
Gotcha. I completely. Yeah, I've worked with the modal with you a couple times, and it's definitely frustrating. Anything else from anybody?
Nope.
I will say a frustration for me was basically having to go and rebuild our database tables and rebuild all the PHP and SQL to match that. I understand that's a part of the process, but it was incredibly frustrating. It really was. But once I figured out what to do with the tables, and I will say thank you, Kyler and Faraz, for giving me that idea. Once I figured out what to do with the tables, everything became much more smooth. All right. So now we will record our thoughts about the sprint on the retro board. And I'm not sure if I have access, to be honest. I don't have access for that. He did not give me access. So
Let's see if we can add things. One sec.
should be able to add things.
I
Yeah,
think
we
you can
can.
empty
So-
column. You can empty column through going through that 3 spaces. Yeah, try to empty column. Can you?
Don't have permission.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we can't empty the columns, and let's see if I
we can just add. So
we can at least
just
add. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just add. I wonder if there we go. I can sort. Nope, I can't even sort them.
we'll just do everything above the test. It's chronological anyway.
Okay, so if I put in thing, so my thing comes down here, whereas yours.
Okay, mine comes out on top. That's weird.
what
Did he?
is-
Oh, I clicked in the top box. You clicked in the bottom.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So if I put in thing right here. Oh, okay, yeah. So Um, I think it's normally 5 minutes that he adds. Let me start a 5 minute timer. Um, can everyone go ahead and get over to the retro board?
I'm there.
Okay. Is anybody not on the retro? And it's okay to say you're not.
I'm here.
Okay, so what if I can,
Okay.
I will go ahead and start a timer. And I can't even do that. I'll start a timer on my phone. Let's go ahead and add one start doing each,
Right.
or a keep doing, and then. So let me just put it this way: we want at least 2 columns. Any 2 columns that you want, add a comment. So I'll go ahead and start my clock. 5 minutes. Let's see.
We're waiting for the timer, right?
The timer started. Go ahead and get your comments in. I don't have access to the timer, so I just put one on my phone.
All right.
Alright, got about a minute left. If you don't have anything up there, try and get something up there. Alright, that's 5 minutes. So, let's see, I think now, read all the entries. So, take a couple minutes, just read the newer entries at the top here, and then we'll discuss if we have anything to discuss. So just take a couple minutes and read through these.
I'm not sure if mine are on there. Could you scroll down a bit, please?
Ah, got it. Okay,
Yes,
so
okay, cool.
yeah, Shane and Faraz had a couple things at the bottom. Good point out, Shane. Thank you for letting me know about that. Okay. All right. So now we will discuss. So any thoughts on the new entries on the retro board? Any kind of questions? Okay. I have a couple of questions. So I want to ask about both Kyler's and Liam's start doing entries. So Kyler says to have more designated times for meetings. So Kyler, when you say that, do you mean like we have times within the week that are designated for optional
Someone's
meetings? Is that what you mean?
someone sent in the text.
Oh, I'm cutting out. Oh, crap. Oh, internet. Okay. Sorry. I can't hear anybody. Let me rejoin real fast. Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Oh, can you hear?
Can
I
you hear
Can
us?
hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yeah,
Yep,
there
we
we're
go.
super good.
Sorry about that.
No,
You're good.
you're good. You're good. Accidents happen.
My
It happens. It happens.
damn internet. Sorry about that. Thank you guys
No,
for
you're good.
letting me know. I appreciate it.
So you were asking about what I put in there?
Yeah, so you have more designated times for meetings. Do you mean like actually let me go back here. Let me go back before I jump into that. Did anybody have any thoughts that they wanted to discuss? Because maybe I couldn't hear you when you were saying something.
Uh,
No, I think you should go ahead and speak because we were trying to get a hold of you when you were speaking. Cause,
Gotcha. Sorry about that.
you're fine.
So Kyler said, more designated times for meetings. Do you mean like we designate times for optional meetings, or we make more like just meetings that the team needs to be there for?
So basically, what I was saying is, I know that in the past, me and you have worked on stuff fairly late in the evening,
Right.
and I know that, for an example, Brandon, I know he works third shift, so obviously he couldn't join that.
Mhm.
Would it be more beneficial if we had more of a designated time, earlier, or even, I wouldn't say later, but just to get other people involved more, because when we meet as a team, I feel like a lot of ideas get thrown around, and more stuff gets done, as more people are in here discussing it. But it's hard to do with everyone's times. Everyone has a different schedule. Everyone follows something different throughout their day. So I don't know. It was just a kind of more of a suggestion that maybe we could have, after our Friday meeting or something, we can work on something, or on Sunday at this time, Jeremy, Shane, and Liam are going to be doing this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
A little bit more designated times. That a way, I feel like things would get done a little bit quicker,
Okay.
and that a way you don't feel like a lot of stuff is piled on you, or somebody else feels like something else is piled up on them. I just feel like if we could get more heads on one thing, it would make things go a little bit quicker.
Okay. How the
Are we
rest?
still recording?
Yes. So
All right.
my OBS did not stop. It was recording, so we should still be all in one video.
All right. Should I go ahead and share my screen, or
What
do
would
you?
what would that be for?
Well, aren't we still on the retrio?
Yes. So going back to let's make sure that we kind of address Kyler's question first, and then you can share.
My bad. I'm sorry. I
No,
was
that's
in my own
no
little world.
problem. I just
I
want
think
to.
what he was saying is you were sharing your screen, but since you left the Discord and
Oh
joined back
God.
in,
Okay. Sorry about
Yeah, that's
that.
what I meant.
Sorry,
That's
Shane.
what I meant.
I
Yeah,
thought.
sorry.
Okay. There we go.
yes, there. And then if you want to put the
Yep.
board back up, there
Sorry
you go.
about that.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. So Kyler thinks, having maybe some like different times where we have dedicated that time for like group meetings might help
Yeah.
out with the process a
Yeah.
little bit. How do you guys feel about that?
More group meetings, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think there's more engagement through that too.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
feel like
there is.
everybody's on a different time. Like I said, with Brandon working third shift, I know Shane used to work third shift. I don't know if you started working again or if you're doing something else in the time being, but I just feel like if we do it at 10 o'clock throughout the week, Brandon won't be able to attend those, and I feel
Mhm.
like he may miss out on something that's important, and that we forget to mention to him,
Gotcha.
and then he's kind of lost. You know what I mean? It's just, I feel like if we can change some times around, or do something along those lines, I feel like we could get everybody more involved.
Okay. No, I completely agree. It sounds like a lot of people agree. So yeah, that's definitely a good idea. We'll say that for the end, but yeah, definitely a good idea.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that, and then But I'm still willing to do the 10, 11 p.m. I'm a night person anyways, so
I gotcha. Yep.
if everyone else is okay with that, I'm okay with it as well.
Okay. Um,
Are-
any
Are we
other?
gonna do 10 p.m. meeting today?
I don't know about today. I think I was gonna take a little bit of a breather, but
Yeah, same.
if
I've been kind of resting for today and yesterday.
Okay, that's fine. It's fine.
I also wanted to ask about Liam. You said create some kind of form for team aid for frustration. Can you give us a little bit more
That's a
detail?
lot more vague. Just people being frustrated keeps coming up. So, as more of a long term thing, we might want to think about trying to find a way to help with that.
Yeah, I've noticed that
But
myself.
that's
We could
very
have
much a down the road. This is something we should consider trying to implement something vague, overarching.
Well, what would it do? What's the goal for this thing?
Oh, I think no, I think you thought I meant like actually making a like Google form or something.
Yeah.
No, some form of
Oh,
just more
some
vague.
form
Yeah,
of teammate. Gotcha. Okay.
teammate. Yeah,
So
not some teammate form.
some
Yeah,
teammate. Yeah, gotcha. Not a teammate form. So some kind of way where people can kind of like help each other out if they're frustrated. Is that
yeah,
the
and
gist of
that's
it?
very vague, overarching. This
Yeah.
keeps coming up. Maybe we should just do something about it.
No, but I
Could
think
But I
that
have
I think that
no
is a good
idea how we
idea.
would do it because that's big and vague.
Maybe that's something that we can discuss in more detail tomorrow.
Yeah, probably.
Just because we don't want to run out too much time here, but I think you're absolutely right. Frustration is, especially as we've kind of gotten into the meat of the website, frustration seems to be coming up a lot from um, multiple people. So I think, yeah, it's a good idea. Creating some kind of way where we can kind of help each other just relieve that frustration, I think, is a good idea. Um, any other thoughts on that?
I know it sounds juvenile, but I feel like we could set up some sort of like a recreational thing, or like playing a game together, or just trying to take our mind off something. I don't know.
that does
Just
sound good,
That
but we
could
can
be
talk
fun,
about that
but
more tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad suggestion at all. I mean, um, I'm definitely open to different things in like a
All right, Call of Duty tomorrow. Got it.
rec room.
Yeah, just killing some folks on Call of Duty could help.
Right. I mean, I'm a little slow for Call of Duty these days, but I don't mind watching and like sarcastically commenting on people's performance.
I've never even played.
uh,
I haven't played Call of Duty probably in like 5 or 6 years now, man.
Call of Duty 8 shooting man.
My Twitch skills are probably very rusty. All right.
All right, on to the next part.
So and I feel like a lot of these stop doing. Wait, this should be. I'm sorry, this should not be here. I meant to put this under keep doing. I wonder. I meant to do this under keep doing. Sorry about that, guys. Let me see
Yeah,
if
you
I
good.
remove this. There we go. So keep doing. Sorry about that. Stop doing. A lot of things relate back to kind of what Liam was talking about: pressure, frustration, aggravation, hesitation. A lot of things that just feel like there are our own emotions that kind of block our progress or get in the way or create obstacles. So I think that all ties back into Liam's thing of like we need to have some kind of group method of relieving that stress a bit.
I agree.
Any kind of comments on the keep doing stuff? Collaboration, questions, asking questions, keeping each other informed, regular meetings, the walkthrough vids. Any comments or ideas or thoughts about those?
I would just say keep doing those videos. They're very helpful.
Yeah, I did kind of drop off on that just a little bit this week, just because I had to go back and redesign a bunch of things. But I put up a tables video last night where I go through the tables extensively, and what I'm planning on doing this afternoon and tonight is I'm going to go through the rebuilt stuff that I did, the actual code, and go through why that stuff is designed the way it's designed. Because some of it's like, especially the update page, it's really wonky. Um, so yeah, I definitely plan on getting back into the videos a little bit, since I had to just take so much time to do the other stuff.
Completely understandable, man.
Yeah.
Well, then it would be kind of repetitive. Haven't you? Did you make a video on the add item update and all the stuff that you did this week, anyways?
Not yet, but I'm going to.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing tonight. Is like all the stuff that I did. I'm gonna go through that. I'm probably gonna make maybe 2 videos because I don't want them to be too long. But yeah, I'm gonna go through all the code and the changes and everything, so that people can kind of understand why it's built the way it's built, and they can kind of see how the PHP code works, basically. Not so much concerned with the HTML, but the PHP, because HTML is relatively straightforward, whereas PHP can be
A little more frustrating.
opinionated. We'll say opinionated.
Yeah. That's a good word for it.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on the retro board? Okay. So what we
I
have to
think we're good.
So what we do now, we choose 2 new items from the start doing, and just put it on our course summary page here. What's the first item that we should bring into that page?
There it is. Okay.
What if we do base something off of what Liam said with the form of frustration? Just create something along the lines of to help cope with frustration.
Oh, don't forget about the Slack Dixie thingy.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I will. I'll make sure I mention that.
Stand up. That's what I meant.
Real quick, let me make sure I get the velocity. So we did achieve a velocity of 15, assuming all these stories meet the criteria that the professor has set, which I think they do. We'll wait on feedback from that. So the velocity was actually 15. I'll go ahead and put the velocity in there. So create some kind of way for team members to deal with frustration. 100% agree. Anybody not agree with that? Anybody think we should put something else there instead?
First of all, I'm not sure those are sneezes, but bless you, whoever's doing that.
Can you go back to the reach out board real quick?
Sure.
I just closed it.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to see. There we go. So I'm going to have the stuff
yeah,
at
so
the,
you can see the bottom.
yeah, so I can see the bottom. So we also have, so I think Shane's got a good point. Start asking team members what they need help with. So we have designated meetings so that more people can participate. Bad ideas around. Team aid. And I think just in general, asking people, hey, how can I help? I think that's a good idea. That's just me personally. So since we can only do one more, what do we want that one to be? That goes in this cell right here.
I mean, there's multiple good ones. It's just a matter of which one do we want to try to, aim for first.
Hmm. And it's not like we can't do all of them. This is more just to have the one that we select just recorded on the page. Like
Yeah.
this is going to be the thing that we focus on. Doesn't mean that we can't do the other thing. So if we focus on making sure that we're asking people what we can help with, doesn't mean we can't have the designated time meetings.
Yeah.
So really, it's just what do we want to go onto the board.
Why don't we just do something with the meetings and just try to follow up more with that?
Okay. Any objections to that?
Nope.
Not really.
No objections.
So, designate more times for team meetings the week. Is that good?
I think so.
Team collaboration meetings. Make it fancy. Okay. Now we can put this back in here. All right, so that should be good for the retrospective. All right, so now we're in story refinement. So let me go into the big visible chart. I'm going to kind of clear this stuff out. Clear this stuff out. These and these. There we go. All right. I don't think I need these anymore. So, here's where we're at. Product categories is ready. We groomed that one last week. So, because register employee is still a priority 6, we have to do that one before we can do any priority 7 stories. So let's go ahead and start with that. Does anybody have the Slack open? I think he
I have Slack open.
is it in.
It
Oh,
would
and,
be announcements.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And so, Professor, could you please update our Dixie back to 3:30? It was at 3:30 until daylight savings, and then it became 2:30, and some people are still kind of recovering from third shift work. At that time, 3:30 works better. For some reason, it got updated to 1:30, and that's really starting to cut into the time where people are trying to sleep and rest up for the new day. So if you can, when you get a chance, can you please update that to start at 3:30 again? So I'm just going to go ahead and do mine real quick. I don't care if people see. Review. There we go. That's done. And Shane, is it in announcements that the stories are posted generally?
I believe so. Let me go and do announcements.
Yeah, there's some in there.
I see.
Okay, so he does have the new ones in there.
All those should be added. I added all of those,
Okay,
and they're
okay, gotcha. Yep, they are.
Yeah, they looked like they were all there already.
Thank you, sir. All right, so register employee, we want to be able to allow employees to register with the system. Pretty straightforward. The acceptance, so the description is, as an employee, I want to add other employees to the system. So this is probably going to be a protected page.
Yes.
Password must have at least one. So here's where we start to implement password controls. So passwords have to have one lowercase letter minimum, one uppercase character, one number, and a special character. Username has to be only lowercase with no spaces. So that is the acceptance criteria. So first we'll need to create a red.
There.
Oh, thank you.
Type it in the checklist spot.
Thank you. Got it. Yep.
So, question about the username thing.
Yep.
It says they have to be all lowercase. Can we
Yes.
just make them case independent? Is that a thing we can do easily?
Can we make them case independent? So can we make it such that the case does not matter? Is that what
Yeah,
you
that's what I
mean?
mean. So, all uppercase, all lowercase, as long as it's the same characters. Otherwise, it goes, yeah, same thing.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like whenever you put those characters in there anyway, it just automatically
Oh, so it just makes
makes
them
them that way?
lowercase. Is that what you mean,
Yep.
Liam?
Yeah, basically.
All right, cool.
So even if they put in like Jeremy, like all caps, when I submit, it'll automatically change that to lowercase.
Like the example I just chucked into the text chat, but yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry, let me check that out. So this or this or this are all the same. Yep. I think we should be able to do that. I know that you can do that with a lot of programming languages. I'm fairly certain that PHP has something similar.
Yeah, I just think that would be a slightly better option than, usernames must be all lowercase. No, it's just usernames are case independent.
Okay, so implement
Are not
a
case sensitive.
case changer function to make usernames or to force usernames to be all lowercase. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And you got to think too. Sometimes people are in a hurry, and a user may have its cap lock on and just type it in real quick and not think twice about it.
That's a good point. Yep, definitely done that before.
Oh, I
myself.
see. I see some kind of example that might help. Give me 1 second. I'll send it into the Discord text.
Okay.
Apparently, this works.
Take a look at that real quick.
The style text transform and then lowercase.
Oh, that looks really simple to implement.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
it's
pretty
easy.
sure there was something like that, which is why I was asking.
And is
I
that
didn't
even
think it would be too difficult.
is that even that's not even PHP. That's just like stock
That's just
HTML.
regular HTML.
That's even better in my opinion.
Yeah,
So-
I don't think you need PHP to alter like case changes. It's just HTML because even other languages have the same ordeal. I don't know about PHP exactly, but like Java, C# have like the same
Yep.
sort of method.
So that would be really great then, if we can implement something like that. Passwords must use the acceptance criteria constraints. One upper, one lower, one number, one special. Minimum. Do we want to implement a password length? Like you have to have a password of a certain length?
I think it would be necessary if it's not in the acceptance criteria now. I still think it should be at least thought about and implemented in some way. That way, if it does come up later,
I think it would be a good
It's
idea
already
that
there.
way so that people can't just put in a password of like,
one letter or something.
JC1
That would also-
at. Because that's
That would also,
that's a bad password.
well, that would also help with like against like cyber attacks because like if someone made a bot or something that like just put in like random passwords, like they can't just send like 500-word passwords like every 5 seconds.
Yep.
Which would like destroy our servers.
Nope, exactly right, and that's good security thinking, security first thinking, which is, I think that's something that we wanted to do somewhere. That
right there on Sprint 3, begin development work with security first mindset.
Security first mindset. Yep. So great work on that one, Shane. Good security first mindset. PHP must enter inputs into employees table. So we're going to store all our new information into the employees table, basically. That's what we're doing there. All right, anything else for register employees?
I think that's good.
Okay. So I think register employees should not take too long, maybe a day or so. The only thing that we'll need to research, because I can use the same format that I used for the add to cart, because it's by and large the same kind of functions. The only thing that we would need to use is, or we would need to research is the password constraints. Everything else is, I can just migrate the code. All right, so now looking at priority 7s, we have support sweetener options. As a user, I want to see sweetener options for coffee drinks. Sweetener options are sugar, sweet and low, stevia, and honey. Sweetener is free. So this would be very similar to how we implemented the creamers. So for each coffee-based drink, add a drop-down box for sweeteners. So as a user, you can, I mean, I'm assuming none is an option. Because, you know, like if you're a Marine, you probably don't want a bunch of sweetener in your coffee. You're just going to take it black, right?
Yeah.
Or if you've never had coffee for the first time and you're like, I don't want to fall asleep on the road, so let me just grab a cup of black coffee. And there's a story behind that I'll tell you guys sometime. So I'm assuming
You know,
none
I
is...
never did understand the whole point of decaf coffee. Isn't the reason why it tastes like crap so the trade-off be so you, like, stay away?
So my understanding of decaf is that for people who have come to enjoy the taste of coffee,
Ew.
they can enjoy it like purely for the taste without getting the caffeine, because maybe they've already had 1 or 2 cups.
It's also sometimes used if people are trying to get rid of caffeine in their diet. So, you know,
Oh.
they
Oh.
drink the same thing that they always drink because it tastes pretty similar and it's hot and brown.
Hot and brown, huh?
I mean, you have that is a
Stop
good point,
talking.
though.
Because
I never
we
thought
drink
about
habit.
using it to get rid of the caffeine in the body.
Yeah, I didn't either. That's interesting. Kind of like those nicotine patches, right?
Yep.
That's
Sort of like the opposite, I think, but yeah.
okay, yeah.
Or maybe.
But
yeah.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Some people don't want to be getting as much caffeine, but habit, so it's like
Yeah.
a cigarette without caffeine in it, actually.
Yeah.
Or without nicotine in it.
Gotcha. Let's see. Sweeteners are shown on the cart and checkout pages. Okay. Anything else for sweeteners? Let me see what we did for creamers. Each item within the cart will display which creamer is selected. Okay, so same thing. So we basically just kind of condensed. Sweeteners are shown. Let me adjust this for each item on the cart and checkout pages. Okay. So we'll do that. Add ice and frozen varieties. As a user, I want to order cold coffee and frozen drinks. Users can order iced versions of the brewed coffee, cappuccino, latte, and espresso.
So I think when you get into these ones, these are for priority 7. Is that where we're at? We're on priority 7 or 6?
Well,
Both. We need to do the 6s, but we'll probably get into 7s.
correct.
Okay. I just
So
wanted to make sure that
technically,
we
the
were doing the
week
right
that
one.
we're on is 7. We are a little bit behind because we had to go back and fix our add menu item
Other
and update menu
pages,
item
yeah.
pages. But my hope is that we can get through. First of all, I think we will get through the rest of 6, and I'm hoping that we can get through at least some of 7. If we're lucky, we might be able to get through all of 7. And if that's the case, then we'll be back on track, pretty much. So, acceptance criteria: users can order ice versions of the ones that we have now, and they can apply sweeteners, creamers, and when we implement syrup options with hot coffee. Now so that's only with hot coffee. So that's not with iced versions. Iced versions you can't put in sweeteners, creamers, or syrups. And then frozen drinks are the Frozo Mocha, the Frozo Apple Pie, and the Frozo Cinnamon Roll. Just make this. There we go. Okay, so checklist. Add line. So we want to. So this is where I have a question. Product categories, are we just making product categories and making them so that we can change an items category and then we actually implement those categories in this story? That's my question for the professor, a little bit of clarification on that. And I'll be sending these questions in an email too. So again, the question is, product category story is we're just making the categories and we're updating the add inventory and update inventory item for those categories. Whereas adding the varieties is we're actually applying the categories to different drinks. That is my understanding. Can you confirm, please, when you get a chance? I also had one additional question on product categories, and this is something that a couple people mentioned. It says that categories can be changed in update inventory. Does that mean that an items category can change, or that the category itself can be changed to something else? So, whereas with scenario 1, we could take Frappuccino from hot and make it iced. Is that what you mean? Or do you mean I can take the hot category and change it into the new category, freshly brewed, for example? So are we changing an items category or the category itself? That's my other question. And again, I'll be sending those in an email. Okay, so assuming those questions get answered, which hopefully they will, he's pretty good about answering questions. We want to apply categories to current drinks, right? That's the first thing that we want to do. Sweeteners, syrups, and creamers only apply to hot drinks, and add new drinks in the acceptance criteria. Let's see. Any other tasks that we might need to do for this story?
I don't think so.
Seems fairly
Hold on,
strict.
one thing. It does say users can apply sweeteners, creamers, and syrup options as is available with hot coffee.
Yeah.
Not only. Or is that me getting something wrong?
Well, okay, so this is another question we can ask. when it says that options apply to hot coffee, that we can apply these options to hot coffee, does that mean only hot coffee, or could that mean other things? Because there's not a word only in here. The way that I read this is that it only applies to hot coffee currently, as the acceptance criteria reads. So we'll probably want to get a little bit of clarification on that particular item as well.
Yeah, because I'm reading it that anything that you can put on hot drinks can also be put on the cold ones.
So as a user, I want to order cold coffee and frozen drinks. Users can order iced versions of these. So it doesn't say that you can apply. It doesn't say you can't apply, but it doesn't say that you can apply the sweeteners, creamers, and option and syrups to cold drinks. It only says you can apply them to hot coffee drinks. So I read it as these only work with hot coffee. That's the way that I read it.
We can reach out and find out. We can update this if that turns out to, if whatever. We can update.
Yep. We'll update as soon as we get some clarification on that. So, anything else that we think might need to go into the checklist? Okay, I'll consider this one ready. And finally, we have user login. As a user, I want the system to welcome me when I log in.
We already have that, don't we?
Well, we have it for employees. We need to just basically do the same thing for users, which is it's going to be very similar. So the home page displays welcome and the logged in user's name. It should be logged in user's name. A username and password are used to log in. Only 3 valid login attempts per 15 minutes allowed. So I think that one's going to be pretty fast since we already have the majority of that for the most part, with the exception of the modal staying open, it works successfully with our employee login. So
That'd probably just be a quick copy and paste.
pretty much, yeah. You're quick copying and pasting. You're maybe changing a couple variables and you're changing some of the SQL tables that you're pulling from. But
Yep.
yeah, it'll be it'd take less than a day, I imagine. So let's see. We need to make the login button pass username and password into database. We want to salt and hash the password, which can be done easily with the PHP hashing function.
Salt and hash.
So
That-
hashing
when it stores the password, if you get on Google and you like create a password, it gives you that suggestion with a bunch of just
Oh yeah.
that's like hashing.
So
Okay,
I
I
can
didn't
show you
realize that
exactly
they
what
had
that
a
means. So
word.
this is a salted and hashed password. So that's not the
Okay,
actual
cool.
password. That's the hash. What it does is that it basically creates a long series of random letters and numbers and special characters that apply only to that particular input. So if I change the input, I'm going to get a different hash. And then salting is when you actually add a random number of bits to the password and then you hash it so that it makes it even harder to crack. So we want to salt and hash the password, making the log open, pass the username and password into the database. We need to implement controls for incorrect login attempts counts. Lock an account if 3 incorrect attempts have been made in a row. Display welcome message and user's username on successful login. Anything else?
I think you got it all, honestly.
Looks good to me.
Okay. All right, so we can consider that one ready.
Ready.
So now, let's see. We need to size the store using Planet Poker. Oh, did we? These have already been sized. Yep. So we don't need to worry about that. So now we can go into sprint planning. The goal of sprint planning is to fill the sprint backlog with the highest priority stories. The team will choose from the highest priority stories from the product backlog that meets the definition of ready to add to the sprint backlog. The team will keep adding stories until they meet the agreed velocity for the team. Team and product owner will agree on the velocity based on the previous sprints. So the way that works is that we take the average of our last 3 velocities, and that's going to be our current velocity. So if we look at, we have 15, 9, and 12. So we have 9 plus 12. 36 divided by 3 is 12. So that's going to be our velocity is 12. So we're going to have 12. Okay. So we know we have to do product categories and register employee first because they are the earlier priority. This is a 5, and that's 3. So we're at 8. So we can get, we can't do this one because that's a 5. That would be 13. We can do sweetener options, which is a small. That's 2. That would get us up to 10. Or we can do user login, which is 3. That would get us up to 11. We can't do both. So which one do we want to focus on first?
What were the two? You said user login, and what was the other one?
The sweetener options.
Why don't we do the sweetener first, since it's like a whole big step? Because the user login will most likely only take a few minutes, or maybe even just like one full day of working on it.
Okay, so you want to do the sweetener options first. Anybody disagree with that? Anybody think that we should do user login?
No, let's just get the tough stuff out of the way then.
Okay. So we'll do support sweetener options, register employee, and product categories. All right, and then these will just stay in ready, and if we get done with this stuff early, we can pull these in with the owner's approval. All right, so number of stories, 3. Product categories. Register employee. And delete row. And this is going to be support sweetener options. Okay. So I think, let me see. I think product categories I'm going to do maybe 30, 30, and 10. So that's where we'll start. We'll start with 30, 30, and 10. And that should be good. Okay. Actually, real quick, sorry. This is going to be not a points target of 12, but a points target of 10. Because we have a max velocity of 12. And let me make sure that I'm not... Okay, so I don't think that we have to record that max velocity. All right, real quick, if you haven't done your stand-ups, stand-ups are ending in about 13 minutes. Make sure you try and get those in. I think we are good. Any questions real quick before we end?
I'm good.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Jeremy, I might need you for like a second or two after this.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah, I want to talk to you too. I wanted to show you something.
Okay, I can bounce back and forth, no problem. All right, well, if unless anybody has any objections, I can stop the recording and we can call that good. Any objections?
Nope.
Alrighty then. That is the end.